Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie. I'm the exhibition director here at the Dairy Barn Arts Center. Today, we have two artists who are exhibiting in our Women of Appalachia Fine Arts exhibition. I'll go ahead and let you two introduce yourselves. We'll start with Mallory.
Hi, I'm Mallory Stowe. I'm a figurative painter, and I'm doing my Master's of Fine Arts program in University of Wisconsin.
Now,
I'm
Michael.
Michael Hickman-Romine. I'm a bead artist in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to you two for the conversation.
Okay. What is your tie to the Appalachian region?
My tie to the Appalachian region is that my ancestors are buried in the Appalachian Mountains, and I was born in Central Ohio and have grown up here. And the watersheds of Appalachia have nourished me my entire life. So, what about you?
I went to OU for school, so down in Athens, and I just felt like really connected to, I don't know, the environment being in that place, coming from like overdeveloped suburbia Cleveland.
Oh, okay. So are you from the Cleveland area?
Yes, yeah, originally.
Okay.
I had family with farms in Southern Ohio, Jackson County. So I would like come down to Southern Ohio a bit. But
Wow, we both get to be Ohioans. That's wonderful. So tell me, Mallory, first of all, let me congratulate you. You are a Juror's Choice Award for this show.
Thank you.
Good job. And were your paintings part of a series?
Slightly. I was focusing on kind of Midwest tropes and figurative painting with a more surreal kind of abstracted landscape. I'm shifting away from that slightly, but still looking to the Midwest and Appalachia for inspiration. How about you?
Awesome. Yeah, no, my series was called Imago Dei, and I made 15 pieces that are variations on the concept of the imago, which is the sexual reproductive phase of butterflies and moths. And then also Imago Dei is a historic Christian doctrine that says that only humans bear the image of God. And I was making inquiries about that.
Beautiful. What? The question is, what process were used in making your artwork for the show? I'm also curious, like the kind of labor and the hours that go into beadwork.
Oh yeah, you get to be an artist. You get off easy. I'm a craft artist. We spend a lot of time with a piece, especially when we're trying to do something new. So the processes I use are an offloom bead weaving technique called gourd stitch, where I pick up a line of beads with a needle and thread and then double back and start sewing individual beads into that line. And so I start all of my work. And then I mount the moths and butterflies on a wire frame to give them some shape and rigidity and make them like useful wearable jewelry, which I'm one of those sticklers for, like, it has to be useful. So and I love wearables. So and then for these, I also created mounts for them that are made out of their habitat sources, either a food source or, you know, some other kind of source of nurturing. So I had to go scavenge for those materials, maple bark and oak knots and birch bark and all of that stuff, and then create them mountings. So that's what I did. And then the pieces, if they went well, I could get them done in a few weeks. But there were a lot of them where I'm trying to get the pattern right in the wing span. A lot of them have those little eyes in the wings that are to determination and everything, and they need to look a little creepy, like, you know, like, oh, he's watching me. So get those just right was a little bit of a challenge. I have a lot of little tiny studies that I've made that are just in a plastic bag next to my desk. So lots of hours.
Are you choosing moths based on kind of like the Columbus, Appalachia region, or are they like national?
No, they are all Ohio native,
Oh,
actually.
wow. Okay.
So it was all the state of Ohio, and mostly the central South Ohio.
Mhm.
That's where most of the habitat is still, because, unfortunately, Ohio's been clear cut, a lot of it in the northern. And so a lot of these moths and butterflies prefer forested areas.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. So what about your processes? I saw that you have a couple of them on canvas, and then you have a wood panel as well. What do you like to do?
So I usually start in like a place of sketching where I'm thinking about feelings. A lot of those are coming from like shame or isolation. And then I'm kind of like casting characters, usually like me or my friends, to kind of be like in these scenes, and then distorting and painting them with oil paint from there.
Okay, that's very cool. So what are the significance of the titles in your pieces? I looked them up before we started, and I have to say that when I saw the exhibition in person, your POV, you are the 8-ball to me from the body of work. So I was very impressed. But how do you come up with your titles?
Titles are tough for me because I feel like, work should like stand alone. So I like to have a little bit of fun with them, just something that makes people laugh, like imagining you are the 8-ball on a pool table or something.
Okay.
How about you?
Oh, my titles were very easy for this show. It was my and it was the common name in the binomial nomenclature of the animal. So it was really not that difficult. Yeah, and it didn't require a lot of creativity there.
Do you have strong connections to like biology and nature? Are you looking into that a lot before you start these pieces?
Yes, I do. I did a lot of research for these. And so I started with research where I'm trying to pull different photographs of the actual things so that I can not only judge average wingspan and wing shape, because every little animal's different. So but then also variance in coloration, and then finding out about their habitat and a bunch of stuff like that. So then we made a pencil and paper scale drawing of them with approximate marks, and then did a bunch of research about their habitats and lifestyles, and what I was going to choose as their mounting habitat. And yeah, there was a fair amount of biology and science involved.
Yeah. Awesome. Where do you find inspiration?
Oh, it kind of comes from both ends of the spectrum. I mean, there is all of this like natural world stuff, but part of it is that, especially with the giant silk moths, like the Promethea and the Polyphemus, like they are, I don't know if you've ever seen one in person, but they're shockingly unreal looking. They're huge.
Yeah.
In that sexual reproductive phase, they only live for 24 to 48 hours.
My gosh. Yeah.
And they tend to fly at night, so they're kind of difficult to find. But I've seen a couple of them in my life, and they are just a stunning experience to get to see them. And so it's a way to interact with them that is becoming increasingly rare in the world. So very inspiring in and of themselves. But then also I study a bunch of famous jewelers like Jar and Wallace Chan and a bunch of people like that who have made some really successful insect-based wearable gems that I think are super cool. So those are my bookends of like inspiration for stuff like this. What are your inspirations?
I like just seeing like, I don't know, people that just grab my attention, that are just wearing like these wonderful, crazy outfits, or in the example of like the dog and the guy in the truck, like they just have like the same kind of hunch and like expression on their face. So I like seeing stuff like that in my everyday life, and then just fixating on it until I can like reproduce it in an image.
Awesome. So what are your current projects? What are you working on? I saw that you're pursuing an MFA right now. So what is your subject matter that is doing it for you?
I've shifted a little bit since the start of the show. I'm working with ink on fabric, and it's just kind of like bleeding and doing its own thing, which is a lot of fun after working with oil paint for a while. Yeah.
Awesome.
How about you? What are you working on?
Oh, the current project on my bench is a pair of earrings for a friend. Earrings are kind of my first love, and I'll never get over. I ended up becoming a jewelry artist because I played with my great grandmother's costume jewelry when I was a little tiny girl, and I have been kind of chasing that high ever since. So I'll never stop just making earrings here and there, but I probably will end up, I have a bunch of wildcrafted supplies that are waiting for me to do a larger weave that I will then install a couple of these beaded moths and butterflies into.
Nice. Are you self-trained, or did you have like jewelry education somewhere?
I am self-trained, actually. Wow. I went to college when I was 16 years old at Simon's Rock College of Art in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. And so I dropped out of high school to do that. And I got my AA when I was 18. And then my working class family thought it was just the most ridiculous thing they had ever heard, sent me to art school. So I got a job and taught myself. So that's how that's gone for me.
Right.
So what problems did you solve while you were working on the series that ended up in the Women of Appalachia show?
I think I've been thinking a lot about, and I still am, how to create figurative imagery that is both specific and has like all the unique qualities that individuals have, and something that people can come to and kind of insert their own perspective and experience into. So I've been working with different visual techniques and environments to kind of create a loose but also like imagined narrative. Yeah.
Great answer. Good job.
How about you?
Oh, for me, one of the problems that I've been trying to solve that this series was actually the culmination of was that I want to make really cool art jewelry. And then you have to face the idea that it spends 80%, 90%, 95% of its life in a drawer. And so I was like, how do you make this into a successful object that is like works as a sculpture object, works as something that you can really enjoy in your day-to-day life, and then, you know, pluck off the wall and wear for the occasions that you want to wear it, and put it back, and you get to live with it as part of your life all the time. So, you know, as a craft artist, I'm very, very concerned with the user experience.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was trying to do some stuff that was great sculpture and a great wearable.
Yeah. So the wood that the jewelry is sitting on, that's something that is easy to like remove from and replace back. Like the wood is part of the sculpture.
Well, the beaded moths are brooches, which you can pluck off of those mounts and then just wear. I'm actually wearing one of the little guys right now, spotted like leopard moth. And then when you're not wearing it, it goes on its little wooden ground, and you get to have it hung up in your house or displayed as sculpture. And so you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I love that. What do you hope is evoked in the viewer when they see your work? Well,
with these specifically, I hope they're a little creeped out, right? Because they're like, oh, that's a bug. Like I was really angling hard to try to get the work into that uncanny valley place where it looks a little bit alive. And so you really kind of want to both be attracted and repelled at the same time. Especially when they're being worn, but also when they're being displayed. So like that was part of what I was going for with this series. And I also wanted them to look cool while you were wearing them, because I always want everything to look while it's being worn. So I would, you know, make my husband come and pin brooches on him, and like I'm like, go 15 feet away from me and let me see it. And what do you think? So yeah. So what do you hope that people feel? I mean, you were talking about your sense of like kind of, you know, specificity and universalism at the same place, at the same time in your work. But are you trying to evoke that like kind of sense of place of the Midwest and stuff too?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and in the people, like just people that just feel like overlooked in everyday kind of passing life. I like just like bringing a sensitive kind of approach to them. So they're both failing and like succeeding as humans. So I hope that like viewers can allow the same of themselves when looking at the figures.
That's great. So did you get to come see the exhibit?
No, I sadly did not. I was
Oh, you're up in Wisconsin,
poring
so
over
that's
the images.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was a really great exhibit. I was pleased with it. But when you looked at the catalog, did anything like leap out to you?
Um, I think just like the wide variety that like everything is included in this show and it all just like feels Appalachian, but like so different and unique. I don't know. Everything felt so strong in this show. I was honored to be a part of it. How about you?
Me too. I loved coming to see it, but you know, I had mentioned that I drove down to the dairy barn when I was probably your age to go and look at the Bead biennial
Mhm.
we had down there. I think it was in '02. And so I was so excited to be part of it. And then I went,
Mhm.
you know, the dairy one has this wonderful history of like quilted exhibition
Mhm.
and this bead exhibition. And so I loved seeing all of the craft influence works, like the
Yeah.
quilts. There was what are a lady whose last name was Von Nostrum, who had a bunch of quilts that were really awesome that
Mhm.
caught my eye, had a lot of found elements in them. And then like Shanda Weigel's like The Devil Must Die, which was this altar thing, just killed me. I loved it. It was my vote for People's Choice. So
Yeah.
I loved seeing all the different things too. So I hear you.
Mhm.
So do you like to work? What time of day do you like to work in the studio?
I feel like productivity peaks when I wake up and then it's just like a drop off till the end of the day. So I like mornings in my studios. How about you?
Okay. Oh, I am a night owl, dyed in the wool, but I do love natural light. So I tend to work in
Mhm.
the afternoons. And you know, your body won't take it if you try to work all the time. So I usually put in, you know, a few hours in the afternoon. And then if I get really obsessed, I'm in the middle of a project, I'll try to turn off
Mhm.
lights and work in the evening. But natural light is so much better to make good
Yeah.
color choices, especially with glass that has a bunch of weird iridescent finishes on it that looks very different in artificial light than it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear that. So how about your renderings? Do you do digital? Do you like paper, pencil? What do you like?
Paper for sure. I'm teaching drawing right now at the university and I'm just like rediscovering my love for like vine charcoal and just like
Oh,
that smudge and just grittiness to it. Just so wonderful to draw with. Yeah.
I love a paper and
Hmm.
mechanical pencil.
Okay.
I love a mechanical pencil for those tiny little lines, and then I,
Yeah.
you know, get my renderings in. But like I said, I'm not classically trained, so my drawings are nothing to write home about. They're mostly size guides, you know.
Um, do you like traditional materials or alternative materials?
That's a really great question. I'm not sure how to answer that because I'm a
Yeah.
like aren't beads like intrinsically traditional? Because I think they kind of are.
I don't know because I feel like they also have like this wonderful like folkiness to them, that like exists outside of like traditional canon, you know?
Maybe. I mean,
Mm.
they have been used by, you know, indigenous peoples all over
Right.
the world for 1,000 years. And
Yeah.
a lot of the beads that they made a couple hundred years ago are like shockingly high quality, beautiful
Yeah.
little things that we don't even touch these days because they're too small. And then like
That's true.
You guys thread that. I don't even know how you got that on a thread.
Yeah.
It's so small. So, you know, but I do like that. And I love wire. I love all kinds of wire.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I don't know, maybe those are traditional, maybe they're kind of unusual. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question.
Hmm.
I think also the inclusion of wood is pretty like alternative, so you're like mixing the two.
Yeah, well, I am part of a collective gallery here in Columbus,
Mhm.
Ohio, and so I get to hang out with other artists who work in different mediums all the time. And I ended up doing a collaborative show. This was years ago now, with a very talented wood carver, and like had to figure out how to incorporate what I do with carved wood pieces. That was a challenge, let me tell you.
What came out of that? Were you like integrating the two?
Yes. Yeah. And I also did a lot of gilding on the wood, a lot of like bronze settings for them. And then
Mhm.
like about half the pieces had some beaded elements involved and stuff. But I mean, it was basically my wood carver friend handing me hunks of carved wood that she thought were cool. And it was like, do something with this. So I had to figure out how to make it into a wearable. Yeah, bit of a challenge at times, especially, I mean, the night I was hanging the show. So it opens the next day, and she tried to
Mhm.
give me something that needed to go into the show. And I was like, it's too late. It's too late. The tags are done. I handmade mounts for all of these. No,
Mhm.
with you,
Yeah.
go home. So, do you like to work with music or a podcast?
I think music for as long as I can stand it, and then podcasts like when I need to hear human voices. How about you?
I have to say probably more podcast than music, but like, you know, that kind of doubled down during lockdown, where
Mhm.
I need someone to be talking to me right now, please.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. I don't care what we're talking about, just go, just talk. So that was definitely an escalation of that one. But I've always worked with some kind of podcast going at least half the time. And
Mhm.
I love that you can learn stuff while I kind of love the whole distracting the kind of cognitive, like,
Yeah.
brain part of you, and just letting the creative handwork part just go.
Yeah.
So that,
Like a state of flow. Yeah.
mhm, yeah.
Um, what's your favorite podcast to listen to right now?
Oh, I'm a hardcore true crime girl. I have
Uh,
very specific guidelines on that. So I like one called Case File that has an anonymous Australian host and is a very long, very dry narrative, not prurient at all. And like he just tells you the whole story for like an hour and a half, beginning to end. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want. I'm not a missing persons person. I don't want to miss
Mhm.
persons. I want a closed case, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of podcast do you like?
Um, I like talk art and great women artists. They're both pretty good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask me about my work?
No, I don't think so. I just wish I could see it in person. It was so beautiful. I was showing everyone today. I'm talking to this person, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both for coming, joining me for the artist talk. Real quick, if you're in the Athens area, make sure to check out the exhibition before March 19th. And for more information, visit us at dairybarn.org.